everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm truly looking forward to this video because I will try to introduce you some haute couture sewing techniques. And as I was pretty sure that it would be a time-demanding project, I chose a simpler dress pattern from the year 1960. And I feel that for the first time I will sew something that will be a bit wearable even today. But this video will not be a sewing tutorial on how to make a dress from the 1960s, but it will be about haute couture sewing techniques that will help you improve the final look of your garment. And this book called Couture Sewing Techniques inspired me to make this video. The book describes in detail the individual techniques. It is so in-depth to even show how to tie knots in threads. But as one fashion designer said, haute couture is about detail and craftsmanship. So let's see how I myself will master craftsmanship. Before we start sewing, let's talk about what is the meaning of term haute couture. Haute couture is a French word and means high fashion or high dressmaking. Haute couture is not only a costume-fitting clothing for a specific costumer, but it's made from high quality and expensive fabric and sewn with extremely attention to detail and finish. The time spent to make one haute couture dress is not less than 100 work hours and can take up to 2000 hours. Some people think that it is a waste of time. But the fact is that if you spend hours and hours on some product using highly expensive material, the simple garment saves your time. Later, major changes are not necessary. You can also try how the model sits you on the rough outline, so then you are not too distracted in the sewing process. Make the simple garment from the cheapest material, resembling the fabric which you will use for your dress. Alter the sewing pattern at your will until you are happy with it and reflect these changes in the pattern. Do not expect to save money on fabric shopping. On the contrary, fabrics will be highly expensive. In the fashion studios, couturiers work with top quality natural materials, oftentimes also with silk. Sometimes the couture cooperates directly with a textile manufacturer to create a special fabric for a specific client. Not very common for ordinary mortals, but still you can find shops with the quality materials on the internet. Further, you will also need a quality material for interfacing. Frequently, silk organza is used. In haute couture, safe-in interfacing is used in principle, not safe-in adhesive stabilizer. If you work with silk, use also silk threads and finest needle size. For my project, I chose silk du Pione, blending its color from blue to golden, and silk organza for the interfacing. I used the pattern by Buttrick B5748. The dress dates back to the year 1960 with a deep neckline on the back and a wide circle skirt. I decided to use this pattern because it's simply to make it. The pattern has only 3 pieces and only a few seams. And I must know one important thing. You must create the pattern without the seam allowances due to the way of transferring the pattern to the fabric. Now, use the thread tracing technique, preferred in haute couture world, as a stitch can be seen from both sides when necessary and does not destroy the fabric. Lay out your pattern on the fabric, pin it down and stitch the pattern with running stitches. Don't worry at all if you are not successful from the very beginning. I also had a problem with these marking techniques at first, but I continue to improve over time. I do admit I used dressmaker's chalk to mark some pattern lines, especially at the beginning, as I was not successful at first and my pattern lines did not quite match. Now lay down the same pattern on the fabric which you chose for the interfacing and make running stitches around the individual patterns. If you would like to be historically accurate, use a cotton tool as of interfacing, at the time called bobbinet. But there are not many options to find it on the internet nowadays. Cut out the individual pieces when you really need them, not earlier. And I think it's because the edges of the fabric don't fray. Cut the seam allowances rather wide, at least 3 cm. This is very typical for haute couture techniques. Place interfacing with wrong sides together of the shell fabric, pin it down and use diagonal stitches along edges. Then the piece is processed as one layer of the fabric. The advantages of interfacing of the fabric with another material include possibilities of changes in the fabric structure, reduction in transparency, color modification. For instance, if you place something blue or yellow under the light pink, the undertone will change. The adhesive stabilizer, in contrast to safe-in interfacing, fundamentally changes fabric properties. When you touch such a cloth, your feeling is totally different. Safe-in interfacing will give a nice shape to the dress. When I finished sewing this dress, I felt that the dress was absolutely airy with the interfacing and perfectly kept the shape. At skirt pieces, I separated 2 layers together with the large diagonal stitches. I know it will take another time, but it's definitely a helpful step. I also stitch layers in the point of tuck. I use a thread with a different color to know later what to unstitch. And that's all for today. In the next video, we will take a look at the art of hand sewing and the final dress. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, you can click on subscribe. Thank you and bye!